You are aware of what will happen if this fails, correct? Entirely aware, sir. You were given one of the greatest tasks in history of this whole multiverse. Do not fail. We've already seen what happens if even one mistake is made. The blue-skinned freak proved that to us. I'll be on my way. Preparations are almost complete. Well, you will be on your way, Asashi. Hello everyone, my name is Lazy Snail. I am back, finally. Anyways, don't have any plans for the future. Just had to give you guys something out there before I, inevitably take another 3-month-long break. Sorry for the wait, but you're gonna have to get used to this since I'm here. Some people, last video I uploaded, last actual what if I uploaded before I left, were complaining about, not being able to listen. I'm sorry for that. I'm not gonna, retell and repost the story, mainly because it was very late at night when I posted that, so I had to be quiet. And also sorry for, any noise in the background. I don't know what that is, honestly, and, I just moved into my new room. So it looks pretty nice, pretty big. I can't turn it off. I can't go upstairs and turn off the thermostat. But anyways, what if Deku had a corruption-based ability? To be more specific, what if Deku had a power similar to the corruption of Pibby? If you know what Pibby is, which I assume a lot of you do, and if you don't, it's basically this. Well, the corruption anyway, not Pibby the character. The corruption in the 2-minute introduction, as well as the April Fool's joke, as well as the billboard, basically can break into other universes and corrupt things to make them look at demonic versions of themselves. These universes can be connected to Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, and the real world, depending on where they're coming through that. But as you saw before, I started this whole intro thing, it does exist in MHA. So, Izuku is a quirkless kid. We all know that, but what if I, just play some little tomfoolery and gave the corruption a single weakness? If a single host could survive with the corruption being forcefully injected into them against the will of the corruption and control it, they control the corruption. Yeah, bullshit, right? Right? Yeah, I know. But, unfortunately, Izuku is that subject. So, Izuku doesn't have the best life in canon. We all know that. You will always feel sad for Midoriya, even though he doesn't have it that bad, particularly. To be honest with you, it's amped up here. Inko, yeah, she's an abusive piece of shit. Hasashi ain't around for obvious reasons. And Bakugo, well, Bakugo's Bakugo. So, when he is to go missing around the age of 7, no one gives a damn. He's a quirkless, worthless piece of shit. Yeah, I don't really want to explain anything in the backstory, especially because, I don't particularly like telling Deku's backstory in different perspectives, mainly because I just find it uninteresting. I just find it the typical anime protagonist. I had no power, but I gained masterful abilities. But anyways, Izuku was kidnapped by a group of thugs, assassins, whatever you're gonna call them, people who were paid to kidnap him and bring him to a work lab. And this place is owned by the Hero Commission. Who would have thought? As Izuku, well, we're not going to explain it, but when the corruption tried to break into the MHA world, unfortunately, even though it was going against powers, we're going to say Bonbon's stupid since it's the core of corruption, to my knowledge, or don't know if that's how the show goes. There ain't an actual series, if you couldn't tell. So, Bun Bun, the core of the corruption, is stupid. We're just gonna say that. So, whenever an entire army of heroes decided to contain a small sample of it, yeah, it didn't end well. Really didn't end well. And before you say, oh, this corruption is this almighty, all-powerful being that can't be controlled, or is it even a being, so to say, maybe a virus, not mentioning anything, 20, for plot convenience, just go with me, guys. So, Izuku would basically be put through hell, all the way up until he's 10, where finally, he's about to experience the most painful thing in his life. Are you ready, Doctor? Of course we are. What are you planning to do if it succeeds? If it succeeds, we're killing him immediately. Get rid of it. For good. Are you stupid? What do you mean, Hisashi? The likelihood of it not being controlled and just coming back if he does succeed is incredibly high, you dumbass. That's why you're my assistant, Hisashi. I make dumb decisions. So, as they'd bring a small vial, and what would be in it is this black, rainbowish goo that was bugging out, glitching. No one understood what exactly it was. They couldn't perform experiments on it. They knew what it did. Thanks to the help of a certain pink-haired friend who is let's say not in the realm of the living in this one. Anyways, so let's think for a minute. Since I do this off the top of my head, what should be the torture mechanism? Izuku is tied to a bed, has been for the past 10 years of his life, getting experimented and prepped for the injection. As Izuku would feel a needle get pricked into his neck, as he would basically start screaming in pain, as you just hear this ear-piercing, glitching sound. As the scar on his neck would appear, but it wouldn't be a regular scar. It would look like the corruption, as Izuku's eyes would start to bug out and fade. His voice, as he's screaming, starts to become glitched, like he's slowly being taken over by something. Slowly, more and more scar-looking things appear on his body, but instead of being scars, they're corruption. As you'd see tears going down Izuku's face, trying to fight whatever this is. Seeing the memories, the horrors of what this thing has caused. As he would basically pass out, but the corruption would fade. It seems like it finally succeeded. What do you mean, finally? This isn't like it's the 5th time trying to record this video. The fuck is wrong with you, Doc? Anyways, continue. As Izuku would wake up, still tied down, but he would hear Hisashi talking. Or someone saying, "Well done, Hisashi. You've served us quite well. As well, here's your payment." As Izuku would start to cry, knowing that his father's the one that put him through this pain. He didn't really care that his family member, quote-unquote, betrayed him. He didn't expect anyone to care for him. But it still hurt, knowing that the person that you don't even know for years, but you knew was your family, just wanted to hurt you. As anger would consume him. As, once again, all the scar-looking things on his body would start to fade to black and start glitching out. As Izuku would break his restraints, as guards would run in. as Izuku's pupils would still be fading in and out of white, him trying to fight for control, but somehow coming to a mutual agreement with one thing: to get out of here. As Izuku would run at unhuman speeds, just running and running, as one of the guards would try to attack him, and out of instinct, he just attacked with a gold sword? This would be Finn's blade, as we would all know. Don't watch Adventure Time, just know he's corrupted, so he gets the blade. Explained. As Izuku would be confused, but he wouldn't have time to think, as the guard would have a slash on his chest. As Izuku would continue to run away. And before you say, wouldn't the guard get corrupted as well? No. Izuku doesn't want him to get corrupted. He doesn't know how to corrupt others. Since he is now the core of the corruption, he has to subconsciously want it to corrupt him. Or he's becoming the core anyway. Izuku would continue to run until he'd make it out of the building. Heroes would be called to try to apprehend him, as he would start getting memories. Memories that weren't his own, but memories of multiple people. People whose lives were ruined by whatever the hell is infecting him. He felt bad for them. Incredibly bad. He knew it wasn't his fault, but he could still feel emotions. Even though to everyone on the outside, he's a mindless monster at this point. A million thoughts would be running down this kid's head. Would be running around in this kid's head. Give me a second. Okay, I'm back. As Izuku would be surrounded by heroes, he would slowly get a feel for the power, basically being able to at least move without it trying to fight back and kill everything. Learning pretty fast, as Endeavor would try to attack him with fire, as out of instinct Izuku would raise his hand up, as the fire would start to glitch out and turn purple-ish, but still being red at the same time, basically glitching out, as the glitch would start to rise to Endeavor's hand as he'd stop producing the fire, as it would just all disappear. But now Izuku would basically have something, as another hero would try to attack. Out of instinct, Izuku shot the fire that he just corrupted, subconsciously corrupting this hero as well. This hero, for convenience, we're just gonna say is Mountain Lady. Now, before you say, oh no, corruption, go brr, Izuku a villain, no. Izuku is not wanting it to hurt people, he just wants to get away. So, while Mountain Lady's eyes are white and there is static all over her body to symbolize she is corrupted, she isn't as badly disformed as some of the other victims of the corruption, you could say. As Mountain Lady would be bigger and start attacking the heroes, Izuku would be able to get away and pass out, and due to this, the corruption on Mount Lady would fade. Now, if you want an explanation to this, it's because I'll go ahead and explain his ability. Izuku's ability is, yes, corruption. He can corrupt whatever he wants, but it is a lot more controlled thanks to him being in control. Basically, say it for this example, if he were to corrupt Bakugo with malicious intent, Bakugo would turn into a mindless monster that every other person that was corrupted before Izuku gained control, he would be exactly like them, just wanting to corrupt other things and kill everything in sight. But if Izuku basically corrupts someone with the intention of basically just preventing them from moving or giving them a power boost, they will gain attributes and looks of someone corrupted, not to the extent of their jaws being completely snapped out of place and looking off-put, but to the point where static will appear over the body and their powers will be enhanced. That's how his version of the power is working. You want to ask me, that don't make sense? Anime. Does anime make sense? No, it does not. Anyways, we will basically skip a lot of this and just go to when Izuku is 14. He's been surviving on the streets by himself, and all the scars you see on this photo and all the ones under his shirt, they're still there, but those are just the signs of corruption that will not go away. Anyways. Anyways. What was it? Alright. So, we're gonna skip a lot of things up to the sludge villain incident. Izuku would get attacked by the sludge villain, but thanks to his corruption abilities, he was just able to corrupt the sludge villain. I'm not going to go into detail with his appearance as a corruption, since he's not, well, relevant. But he would basically run away as the corruption would disappear. All Might would get there fast enough just to see the last speck of rainbow static fade away, as All Might would basically remember an event that happened 4 years ago, as he thinks nothing of it and captures the villain. All Might, being All Might, would still drop the bottle, and it would basically still happen, as you would see, as you would hear a massive explosion, as Izuku would decide to check it out. And what you'd see is 2 people captured. Someone who looks like an angry Pomeranian, and then a brown-haired girl that kind of looks like a Kirby. Yeah, these is Bakugo and Ochako Uraraka. Now, Bakugo, after Izuku disappearing for plot convenience, he kind of thought back on his actions and felt bad. And when he told Inkyo that Izuku hasn't been showing up at school, she just said, "That's good for that fucking useless brat. Didn't need him anyway." He felt even more bad, realizing that Izuku was a victim of abuse. Now, before you say, "Oh, this is gonna be you," "Oh, I forgive you immediately," Kachan's story. No, I just need to put him here so I have a reason for an explosion to go off. Uraraka has no reason to be here. I'm bored. And I kind of have an interaction planned for later. As you would see, the heroes around not doing anything. As he had 2 main ideas. Corrupt one of the heroes and give them a power boost, allowing them to actually save them, or corrupt the blonde-haired kid and allow him to use his quirk to save both of them. But there in the last second, he noticed something. He noticed the Kirby-looking person basically trying to place all 5 fingers on the sludge villain and wherever she could, but due to it being sludge, she couldn't. But it would slowly start to rise in the air. But because he is liquid, it just doesn't work correctly, I'm gonna say. And also because she's inexperienced with her quirk. She's a late bloomer, you could say. As he then has this massive idea, as a string would then shoot out of his hand, going directly for Uraraka. This string would look glitched, as all the heroes would look back to see where it came from, to see a green-haired boy wearing a jacket, the one you see here, just without the rabbit symbol on it. Instead, it's just nothing. As the string would disappear, as basically the sludge villain would just get torn off by Bakio and Uraraka. Basically, Izuku, or the corruption, being in control of Uraraka, giving her free will, so to speak, and she is able to think, as she would start raising her hand up, subconsciously thanks to the corruption, enhancing both her knowledge of the quirk and her quirk, basically turning it into gravity manipulation, holding the villain, and then taking the bottle and putting it back in. As all the static around her would then vanish as she would pass out, as a string would then fly back into Izuku's hand, as all the heroes would notice this, and All Might would realize, that's the kid. But why would he? As All Might would realize, that's the corruption that tried to kill us all. So that's what the commission was doing. As the heroes would try to run after Izuku to arrest him for using his quirk, and as he was running away, he would scream out, "You want to arrest me for doing your lame-ass jobs?" If this is the peak of heroism, I'm sorry to say it, but even the fucking villains are more of a hero than you are. As everyone would kind of be confused and enraged at this. As Izuku would then make a point. Most villains become villains because of how they're treated by society. If you're born with a villainous quirk or quirkless, you're condemned to either be dead or be treated as a villain. Or worse, become one. And you want to know what heroes do about it? Jack shit. As long as you get your money, as long as you get your fame, you don't give two fucks. As 5 strings would then fly out of Izuku's hands, touching all 5 of the heroes chasing him, as they would all start to glitch out and just not move. As Izuku would then just vanish, as a lot of static would be where he just was. As he would basically then release the heroes from the corruption. And that is the end of this part of this segment. I don't know where I was going with that. It's the end of the sludge villain attack. I would love to end it here, don't get me wrong, but you know what? We're gonna continue for my own entertainment. As we're gonna go ahead and skip to the entrance exam, where Izuku would basically get first in the written portion, where if you want to ask why, it's because he has the power and intelligence of the corruption, and while Bun Bun was stupid, don't get me wrong, I still believe he's going to end up being dumb. He does have the knowledge of a lot of intelligent people, which I'm not going to name any of them, just I do know that there are a lot of intelligent people in Cartoon Network. So Izuku would have all their intelligence combined, and also the intelligence of the original corruption, which is a lot smarter than the bunny. We're saying this just because why the fuck not? We needed a reason for the corruption to even become Izuku's power. As we would go to the the practical exam, as he would see Uraraka. As he would basically start to walk up to her, and Ida would interrupt him, saying, "If you're just gonna distract others from focusing on their exam, then you should just leave this school. And who the fuck are you to tell me what I can do? I don't care where the fuck you're from. I don't care if you're the son of God himself. When I want to go speak to someone, I will. And for your fucking information, I'm trying to calm her down." Izuku is not the kind-hearted being he is in the anime. If you couldn't guess, he was tortured for most of his life, for goodness sake. Now, And I say most of his life because his childhood, before he was captured, was like fucking hell. You could imagine. As he would calm Uraraka down and secretly just put a bit of corruption on one of her hands. She didn't notice this, but the corruption isn't active on her. As the gates would open, as Izuku would rush in at blinding speeds, as that is where we'll leave it off. Now, to all of you who stuck around to this portion, please, 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 I fucking beg you, give me your opinion in the comments. I really want to know if I should continue this series. 5 likes for the next part. Also, the five first people to comment on this video will be getting a shout out in the next video. And without that, adios. My name was Lazy Snail. This has been the show of bullshit, and I have something else to say. Yeah, I need your opinion. Is this a good concept? Am I doing things right with this? What should I change? What do you want to be the ship? Not Uraraka, as I have something planned for that later. But, anyways, without that, adios.